Hi, and welcome everybody. I'm Ross Benjamin of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. You're watching the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel, and I'm flying solo again today. Unfortunately, folks, Doug Upstone, who's with us every Monday, has been hospitalized and he's going through a health issue that may require surgery. So our prayers and thoughts go out to him. And at the last minute, I couldn't get a replacement for him because Chip had technical issues, so he couldn't come on. But Chip did have a play today for you, so I'm going to give you that and give you my best analysis in terms of what his play is. And we're going to be covering both games that go on Saturday in the NFL between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Buffalo Bills and the LA Chargers. Before we get to that, folks, just some friendly reminders here. If you go to gamblersworld.net, which is our sponsor and which I'm a handicapper at, along with 9 other great handicappers, we have the 12 Days of Christmas special going on every day up until Christmas Eve. We're going to have a different special every day. And today, up until midnight tonight, you're going to get 10% off any purchase site-wide from any handicapper on any package, whether that be a single game or a multi-game daily package or subscription plans of 7 days, 30 days, or 99 days. The college football bowls special is still in action. A lot of bowl games left to be played. After today, we're looking at 36 games still left on the bowl card. So $2.99 will get you any handicapper's complete bowl package throughout the bowl season, right through the college football championship game. And with all our packages, even with the 10% off site-wide on any of those packages or with the bowl special, we guarantee all our selections, folks. And what that simply means is if you don't win, you don't make a profit, then we will credit your account back the exact amount of your purchase price. All right, let me get to my game that I was going to cover, and that's the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Right now, the Cincinnati Bengals are a 2.5-point favorite, and the total in this game is 38.5. It's a 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff on Saturday the 23rd, so keep note of that. The Pittsburgh Steelers just are struggling badly. I know, I took a lot of flack early in the year when I told everybody, especially when Pittsburgh is 7-7. And when they were 7-4, I said it then, 6-3 or 7-4, whatever they were at that particular moment in time, they had a winning record and they're so well coached. They know how to win. And I kept telling people, man, when you look at their point per game differential and their yards per game differential, this team is a fraud. They're not as good as their record indicated. And lo and behold, look what's happened of late. Now, having said that, I should have listened to myself because I took the Steelers on Saturday and they jumped out to a 13-0 lead at Indianapolis, and then they completely fell apart. And more specifically, offensively, they couldn't get anything going. Mitchell Trubisky was eventually pulled from the game and replaced by Mason Rudolph. He didn't do much in his short time on the field. And this is a Pittsburgh team that's not only having on the field issues, but they're having off the field issues too. There's some chemistry issues there. There's a lot of displeasure in that locker room right now, guys calling each other out. Mike Tomlin's been under fire by the press. And the bottom line is the last 3 games are 0-3 straight up in ATS, losing by 11.3 points per game. And like I alluded to, not only last week, but during this 3-game losing streak and through the entire year, but specifically the 3-game losing streak they're currently on, they're averaging just 13.4 points per game and a little over 265 yards per contest in total offense, and they're averaging an atrocious 4.6 yards per offensive play. The Cincinnati Bengals, on the other hand, they've been revived. They look to be out of the playoff race at 5-6. They've won their last 3 now. And all of them with their backup quarterback, Jake Browning, under center. And everybody wrote Cincinnati off when Joe Burrow went down with a season-ending injury. And, of course, I mean, with the limited experience that Browning had, one can't blame anybody for doing so at that time. But This is a Bengals team during this 3-game win streak, 31.7 points per game, 418 yards per contest. So unlike Pittsburgh, they've been able to move the ball with consistency and score an abundance of points. And, Browning has made 4 starts now. The Bengals are 3-1 straight up in ATS in those starts. And in those 4 starts, he's completing 76% of his passes for 1,160 yards, 6 touchdowns against 3 interceptions. Folks, you can't do much better than that as a backup quarterback. And boy, oh boy, he's making a case for being a starter somewhere along the line, not necessarily with Cincinnati because they already have a franchise quarterback, but he's certainly writing himself a bigger paycheck in the future. The Bengals, by the way, 3-1 straight up in ATS in the last 4 on the road as well. I mean, that includes wins at Jacksonville and San Francisco, or currently division leaders. And also, during this 3-game win streak, the Bengals have really controlled the clock, 33 minutes and 1 second of time of possession, while the Pittsburgh Steelers are only on the field their offense, I should say, only 28 minutes and 2 seconds. I see that trend continuing. Pittsburgh's defense has a lot of upside, but they're getting worn down because their offense hasn't been able to sustain drives. And especially in the second half, they're really falling apart due to that factor. So Cincinnati also 8-3 against the spread as a road favorite of 7 or less over the last 3 seasons. And also over the last 3 seasons, the Bengals are 7-1 straight up in ATS on the road after game 8 of the season. So basically in the second part of the season, since 2021, 2022, the Bengals are 7-1 straight up in ATS on the road, folks. That's pretty damn good. Cincinnati will be playing with revenge because Jake Browning's first start was a loss, and it came against Pittsburgh, 16-10, and they lost on their home field. However, the visitor in the series, not only in that game, but the visitor in the series have gone 3-0 straight up in their last 3. And I look for the visitor to prevail here once again. And I'll take the Cincinnati Bengals minus 135 on the money line at Pittsburgh. And again, I'm recording on Monday the 18th, folks. This game doesn't go to Saturday the 23rd. And I would tell you, if that money line goes any higher than 140, steer away from that and be willing to lay 2.5 or 3 points, whatever it may be, with the Bengals. Again, this line is subject to change, as always, depending on when you view the video. All right, so we got one more game to discuss. It's the Buffalo Bills and the LA Chargers, but just a friendly reminder, folks, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please take a second to do so. If you're on your PC, you'll see a WC logo right in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Click on that. That will get you subscribed. It's absolutely free. There's no strings attached. There's no hidden agenda. And if you're on your smart TV or your mobile device, right underneath your video box is a black subscribe button. Click on that. Serves the same purpose, and it's absolutely free to do that, and you'll be subscribed. And then take an extra second or so more. I would highly advise this, folks. And for those of you who have already subscribed, which there's close to 12,000 of you out there, and we appreciate each and every one of you. But if you haven't taken this step, please take a second to do so as well. Not only the new people, but also current subscribers. Go into your YouTube settings and click on that alert notification bell for the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel, and you will be notified immediately upon any of our 6 podcasts weekly going up on the site. And don't forget, every Friday we go live at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, this Friday being no different, with Sean Higgs and Jesse Schule. At that time, we'll take all your questions and comments, and you'll get immediate answers, as opposed to when you comment on the archive versions of our show, and it takes time for us to get back to you. We do appreciate all your comments, even on the archive show, but my point being is it's always nice when you have a question, a comment, or a concern when you voice it and you get an immediate response. So there you have it, 3 o'clock Eastern Time on Friday. We have four more shows in between then. I'll be back tomorrow morning with Jesse Schule and Sean Higgs. And tomorrow afternoon, I'll be back with Paul Bovey and possibly Chip Chirimbus if he gets his technical issues straightened out. So we'll be talking NFL tomorrow afternoon and college football bowl action tomorrow morning. Okay, let me get to the last game, which is the Buffalo Bills at the LA Chargers. And boy, oh boy, the Bills were very impressive yesterday. They're a 12.5-point road favorite here against the Chargers. Ordinarily, I would look for every reason in the world to use a double-digit home underdog when given the choice. And if I don't like the double-digit home underdog, I usually stay away from the game. But because I was assigned to this game, this was initially Chip's pick. Chip had indicated to me he likes the Bills in this game. And I'm going to take a stab at the fact of why he likes it, because I do as well. It's just obvious right now. And I hate to go with the obvious. But folks, the Chargers are a mess. They waited way too long to fire Brandon Staley. They did not show up whatsoever last week in an embarrassing, pathetic performance at Las Vegas, in which they lost 63-21, and they actually trailed in that game 49-0 at the half. And now Brandon Staley gets fired, and also they lost their starting quarterback, Justin Herbert, who's out for the year. So they're going with the backup quarterback, Easton Stick, and he fared okay if you look at the raw statistics from that game, but he got a lot of garbage yards, and they scored some garbage points in the second half when the game was decided, and the Raiders had reverted to using backups on defense and also playing a little softer on the defensive side of the ball. So let's not get caught up with that because that certainly is a little bit of a misleading factor. And Buffalo's really rolling right now. They've won 3 of their last 4, and you can make a case they should be on a 4-game win streak. Their only loss in that sequence came at Philadelphia in a game that Jake Elliott kicked a 61-yard field goal in the rain to tie the game, and then Buffalo loses it in overtime on a walk-off touchdown by Jalen Hurts. The Bills lost that game despite putting up 505 yards of total offense. Yesterday, they just crammed the ball down Dallas's throat. That was a Dallas team that was red hot at the time, 5-0 straight up in ATS in their previous 5, averaging 40 points a game during that stretch. But it's quite evident Dallas isn't quite the same dominating team on the road than they are at home, especially when they play a quality opponent. And as you could see, when they went on the road and they played San Francisco, Philadelphia, and Buffalo, the results weren't that good. And Buffalo is a team that has vastly underachieved this year. They're 8-6. And as opposed to the Pittsburgh Steelers, when I told you that team was a fraud, you look at Buffalo's numbers, and they beat themselves in a lot of games this year. I mean, first of all, their 6 losses have came by 6 points or fewer on each occasion, a combined 26 points in all. And this is a Bills team that's outscoring their opponents by 9 points per game and outgaining them by 64 yards per game. With those types of numbers, they should be much better than 8-6, but it is what it is. And they're rolling right now. And boy, James Cook is coming off a tremendous game. Josh Allen only had to throw 15 passes yesterday, and it wasn't weather related whatsoever. The bottom line is that Buffalo ran the ball for somewhere around 265 yards yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Let me get that exact figure for you. Actually, they ran for 266 to be specific. And again, back-to-back impressive wins for the Bills at home, 31-10 against Dallas. The week before, they go to Kansas City and they win that game 20-17. And again, the Philadelphia game, they lose in overtime 37-34. They beat the Jets the week before that 32-6 in a game that wasn't even as close as the final score might indicate. So Chip likes Buffalo minus 12.5 here against the Chargers. And I see no reason to try to beat my head up against the wall to make an excuse why I should use the home underdog in this spot. So Chip Chirimbus is on Buffalo minus 12.5 over the Chargers. I definitely agree with him there. And then my pick is on the Cincinnati Bengals minus 135 over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Once again, folks, you could find me over at gamblersworld.net on a very nice roll right now in the NFL. Since week 2, my NFL plays are 50 and 35. It's good for 59%. And also all sports since August the 4th over at gamblersworld.net. I am right now, give me a second here, 209 and 150, which is good for 58%. And folks, your return on investment with me is going to be very high at 58% because I don't give out big chalks. I don't give out money line chalks, I should say. Minus 150, minus 160, like a lot of other guys do. That's their prerogative. That's not me. And dime better since August the 4th with me over that 209 and 150 run. They're up over $44,000. My college basketball right now, 13 and 6 and 42 and 29 runs. My NBA sides had another winner last night with the yesterday afternoon with the Boston Celtics, easily beating the and covering against the Orlando Magic in a 17-point win. 57 and 25 now with my NBA sides. That's good for 70%. And college football, the bowl package, like I said, you can get it for $2.99. Last year I was 13 and 4, off to a 1 and 2 start this year, but I'm going to turn it around. You know that. I know that. We all know that. So why not invest? 14 and 6 with my bowl game picks since last year. That's good for 70%. And since December 2nd of last year, my college football picks are a rock solid 71 and 50. And that is good for 58%. So you can win a lot of money at 58, 59% when you're not giving out big chalks or big money line chalks, I should say. And you're over that course of time with that volume of plays. All right. I'll be back tomorrow morning with Jesse Schule and Sean Higgs. Until then, folks, take care and God bless. And Merry Christmas to each and every one of you out there.